Warriors Unite! Back with another episode of Mega Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. How you guys doing? Hope you guys doing well. Hope you guys continue to conquest yourselves and conquesting things around you. It's great to be back with you guys, and took a couple days to kind of get organized more, and so we're back together. I hope you guys are continuing to follow your Creator, God's purposes, and continue to have self-control and to get better each day. That's the whole key. Try to get better, become more of a masculine male. We have too many crazy feminine men out there. We need more, and too many masculine women as well. We need to kind of get back to going back to the way the world should be under God, making the masculine male who is a dominant person, who's leading, protecting, and providing. So we need to get back to that. All right. So we'll do some shout outs first, and then we'll go to our topic. So Giodude, thank you, my friend. As always, Oleg, thank you. As usual, Body Biscuit, thank you. Abody Angel, thank you very much. The new takeover, good, thank you. Then new takeover, I think it is, or AVC, thank you. Cameron Vaughn, thank you as usual. Reinhardt Bieler. So I kept talking. I apologize, Reinhardt. I kind of said Richard, but it should be Reinhardt. So thank you, my friend. Volk 4200. And sometimes I go too fast. I don't get the names right, so my apologies. Boursitocard, thank you. Again, Abody Angel, thank you. Jihad durka, thank you. Quizegg 500 Road, thank you. Alvin, thank you. Old time, my friend. JoJo Ace, another old time person, I think. Thank you. Charlie Chimp, family, thank you, my friend. Official brother, Musick Boldly, thank you as well. Brian Peraz, thank you, my friend. Body Biscuit again, thank you. Hardboy, thank you. Jte Creates, thank you. Reinhardt Bieler again, thank you, my friend Reinhardt. Knowledge Harvester, thank you. Castile, thank you. Truth Seeker, Jte Creates again. We're going to talk about non-ejaculation sex in another broadcast, but that's another good topic we should go back to. I think it's Tino 0936, thank you. Lewispiritual, thank you. Mosesmelo and Zappy XX. So thank you guys, and at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, let's talk about the topic for today. And this one comes from Don Trump. Thank you, Don. Close the gates during semen retention. So let's go ahead and talk about what this concept means and what we're doing here. So as we talk about this, we're talking about the idea that we have a certain level of protection that God has given us as warriors. We fight the battles every day out there to provide and protect for our family, for our town, for our state, for our country. And so we have certain protection. And so what happens then is that we decide to sometimes open those gates up and let people in. Now, sometimes it's warranted. Obviously, if you're going to be married like Vigor Warrior's been for 30 years, I let the gates open, and that was fine. We've had 3 wonderful Vigor Warrior children and Vigor Warrior grandchildren. Wonderful, wonderful, all great. But you have to be careful in this society nowadays, especially with a lot of the liberal types of attitudes people have towards intercourse. I see it over and over and over again, that a lot of women and men involved in, all those images we're talking about and all those things that they're on, movies and OnlyFans and things like that, they start regretting those things. And a lot of them don't live very long, actually. But they start regretting those things because those behaviors become more deviant. And again, guys, as we talk about this, a person is just not satisfied with having intercourse with a person. Now the sensation has to be greater and greater and greater. And so if you're not putting love and family and taking care of family involved in this, it's very easy to see how males and females can get very addicted and create a lot of deviant behaviors. And that's why you see violence. That's why you see a lot of deviant behaviors. And all you got to do is kind of look on, in the social media and see all the men and women, especially the women, who now are regretting. No one's talking with them. They may have made lots of money on OnlyFans, but they're having a hard time because people look at them as a certain way. And it's very difficult to get away from that, that stereotype and stigmatizing that person. But we go back to the gates again, and you have the control in your life to allow your gates to be open and to let temptation in. You have to kind of stop that. So as a warrior, we need to have a sharp mind, and we need to be on top of our tasks every day, which is why it's important for us to keep working out, why it's important for us to keep meditating. And even if you have, struggling with different things at times, Vigor Warrior's got a lot of things going on, right now, family types of events, things like that. It's not always easy to go get, working out and things like that. But you got to keep on top of it, because what happens then is you lose that edge. And if you start losing that edge, those gates can open. And next thing you know, you have somebody coming in, and they can entice you, and they can kind of, intrigue you to the point where now you're interested. And again, the thought comes before the behavior. So we have to make sure we clear our minds. And like I said, monk mode is not something that's easy for me. That's something I'm still working on. The other stuff is a lot more easier now than it used to be. No FAP and just not releasing. Those things are a lot easier. But the thought pattern is tough, especially if you've had years of doing it. So this is why we have to stop that gate, close that gate, and not allow that gate to open. Now, of course, if you're interested and you're single and you're interested in having a companion, that's a little different situation. But even in those situations, you have to make sure if you're going to open that gate. When we're talking about opening the gate, we're talking about allowing person inside to affect you. That's what the gate we're talking about here. We're talking about allowing a person to have some impact on you so that you can actually get tempted by that person. And this is why we have to be careful of this, because unless it's somebody who is really special and someone you're going to spend a lot of time with, you may find yourself, in a situation where you're releasing and you're losing your power, and all of a sudden you're not gaining the relationship you're looking for. And now you're sitting there looking to do this again, and now you have to kind of be even more careful the next time that you're not allowing that gate to be open again. And there's times when the gate should be open, but there's a lot of times when the gate should be closed. You're trying to protect, the gate is there to protect you, almost like the shield of God, head plate, the breastplate of God and of the Lord, and the helmet of the Lord. Those things are to protect you, especially from the negative thoughts that come through. And this is not easy at all, but it's something that we have to continue to work with. That's why the temptation is always there. This is why I always yell out, battle on. Why I always, talk about let's unite together. Because what we're doing is we're fighting a battle with the mind. And obviously the mind leads to behaviors. So you're going to sit there and behave, look at people and behave, and people will behave and they'll be tempted to come to you. Especially if you're a high value male, which we all become with semen retention. Because of the fact that we're learning to control ourselves, and the more we can control ourselves, the more we can transmute, we stand above the rest. And I don't mean that in the egotistical way. I just mean that we're noticed because we're doing something that 99% of people in this world don't do. Especially it's really something that's really kind of looked down upon. We had one person that was talking about how their family disowned them because of semen retention. And that's a sad state of affairs, and I will pray for you, my friend. That should not be happening. If at all, the parents and people, and I know I'm a parent, should be, congratulating you. This is a great thing that you're trying to control. But it's ignorance. It's not something that, and I never judge anybody. So it's not a judgment type of thing we're talking about, but people just are not aware of what's happening. They've been kind of brainwashed in our society. I call it this blue matrix that's sitting out there. And they're brainwashed with all these things that really are not good for you and are not healthy, but they're put there to make you get controlled by something, some people who want to be controlling you. And so if you want to make men weak, give them all kinds of pornography. If you want to make them weak, give them all kinds of sugars and all kinds of things. Don't let them work out. You want to make them weak, have women chasing them all the time. All those things can make men weak. And then if you don't have you have weak men in your society, you have a weak army, then you have people who can be taken over, and next thing you know, you're back, that group is being taken over, and now you're in that, now you're looking up and saying, okay, someone else is running the show. And now we've lost our country. And that's very easy to happen. So this is why after 250 years, 300 years, all these great empires fell apart. Because the same thing's happening to us that happened to them. After a period of time, they become so engulfed that they feel like they can do no wrong, and they feel like that they can have any pleasures they want. And the pleasures end up killing them. They cannot self-control themselves. And so they feel like there's no self-control. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And the gates are wide open for any people that want to come in. And at first, it's their own people. And at first, it's just like kind of avarice and lascivious behaviors, and are destroying them from within. And then when they're weak enough, like the Roman Empire, Attila the Hun, and a lot of those Huns come in, and they start attacking parts of the Roman Empire. And before you long, there's nothing left. So when we talk about this, we're kind of talking about the fact that you have to be on guard, and you have to battle on every day to get to the point of saying, okay, I can have a handle on this. I'm not going to allow this to control me. I'm going to lock that gate, and I'm going to be aware of things that are outside trying to get in. And as I said, there's times that you may decide, okay, I'll open the gate, allow a person in, and we'll see what happens in a relationship. But even those relationships, take it slow, make sure this is the right person, and again, don't release energy unless you're going to procreate. And you'll know for sure, if you're not sleeping with a person and they still want to be around you, that's a good sign. Especially if the women are coming after you, which is really what's going to happen with semen retention. Because you're so focused on goals, most of the time, the reason why I think Don's talking about this too, if we have to close the gate, it's because we have women who want to get in. It's almost like the story of the husband and all the wives who went to go get light lamps, and the Lord locked them out, and they couldn't get back in. It's kind of like that kind of story where all of a sudden the women are coming back. Oh, watch out, somebody's car's out there. The women are coming back, and they're basically trying to get back into the gate, and you can't let them in. And so this is why we talk about the fact that the women really are chasing the men. Now, in this society we have, in this whole crazy model we're talking about here, the whole matrix has talked about the fact that men should be chasing women. And this is so unnatural to me after all these years now, but I used to do this myself years ago, so I know. It's very unnatural. It never felt right to me anyway. But the point being is I did it because I thought this is the way society was. The man should be chasing the woman. Well, most of the time when I was chasing the women, they weren't interested in me that way, and they became less interested. I mean, I became more invisible because I was desperate, or I tried too hard. All of a sudden, when I stopped trying, and this is years later, and then I find my wife and all kinds of other stuff, and all kinds of other attractions from women, because I focused on myself, focused on my goals, focused on the Lord, and most of all the Lord. And so all of a sudden, things changed. But it comes back down to the fact that you have to run your life as a man. And as a man, you run your life, others will respect you. Women especially will respect you. And then you'll find the right type of women to be around, not the women who are going to bring you down and who's going to kind of suck that energy from you. And believe it or not, women subconsciously are trying to get that energy, whether it's through validation or attention in a psychological way, or it's through the actual physical drawing of your energy through intercourse and things like that. This is why we look and say to ourselves, this gate, as Don's talking about, has to be closed 99% of the time. You can leave it open once in a while, but it's got to be closed most of the time. And so as we look at this is why we continue to say that we have to continue battling on. We have to continue to look at situations and say, okay, the women are great, they're great companions, women are wonderful, but my life is not based on women. My life is based on a higher purpose. And that higher purpose will allow you to get away from thinking about women all the time and allow you to focus on God. Now, I realize that my good old friend Eddie and other people, they're struggling with this like I did years ago. And the only advice I can kind of give you guys is try to get yourself involved in other things as much as you can. The drive that you have, the high testosterone you know, especially younger guys like yourselves have, it's tough. There's no doubt about it. It's tough for me even to this day. It's tough. But the thing is, and I'm 63, but the thing is that you have to learn how to transmute it. That's why exercise is so important. That's why getting goals is so important. Working on making money is so important. All these things will keep you busy enough that gate stays closed. You're not even thinking about opening the gate. And we're not just talking about opening the gates for women to come in, you know, actual physical women coming in. We're even talking about the gates for looking at magazines or internet or phones, right? We got to keep that gate closed. The blinders have to be closed. You cannot be sitting there entertaining thoughts of these things. And once again, monk mode is your best mode, in my opinion. But that's the hardest mode, because now you're not, in monk mode, you're not even thinking about women at all. And that is a challenge that I continue to have. Because, and honestly, that's a difficult thing to do. Because if you have a high level of, if you're blessed, and I've been blessed by the Lord to have a high level of energy all through my life, it's very difficult to all of a sudden, you know, not think about those things when they hit you. It's not like thinking about it purposely, but things come across. Things happen to you, you get contacted by a person or something happens, and all of a sudden you're moving into thinking those directions. You see somebody on the street, those things can happen. We all get to those type of situations, and if you don't, you're kind of not addressing what's actually happening out there. So the thing is that you have to kind of realize, okay, those things happen, but I need to control those things. Once again, the birds will fly over your head. You can't avoid that. You can't avoid running into somebody who's half naked running down the street. You can't avoid sitting there and, you know, TV, all of a sudden somebody comes up and, you know, there's somebody on TV that looks attractive. But you cannot let this temptation lodge in your head and open that gate so that people can kind of come through, images come through, and all of a sudden now you're going down that hole with just a matter of time before you decide to release. And again, if you start releasing again, we know what's going to happen. Now you have to release more and more. Now you need a higher level of pictures or higher level of people. And now you're doing more to get more excited and more aroused. And all of a sudden, you're leading yourself down the path that a lot of these people run into. And so I pray for them, because I feel like this is not an easy thing at all. It's easy to get addicted, just like it's easy to get addicted to gambling or drugs or, you know, overeating. All these things are addictions that we have to be careful of. But the thing is that we have to be careful of this idea that we get aroused by things and we get desensitized once we do them. And so once you have intercourse with somebody, now the next time you become more addicted and you need to have more and more and more. And this is tough. It's like you're eating. You know, you get an ice cream, you may want to have another ice cream, another ice cream. You got to say no. You got to close that gate in those situations too. All right, my friends. Well, anyway, this is a great topic Don's talking about. Once again, we have to be on guard, our own guard. And as a battalion together, all of us, men have to be forming those walls, those shields to protect us from the intruders. And who are the intruders? Well, the intruders are those representatives of the evil one who's trying to get us to release energy, make us weak men who can be taken over by women, by other countries, by other armies, whatever it might be. Be a strong man, stand your ground, don't fall for temptation, close that gate, and if we all do that, as we grow, there's going to be such a wall around us no one can get in. And I see some of that happening now through MGTOW. The MGTOW movement, where a lot of men are walking away, that wall is slowly getting stronger and bigger. And unfortunately, a lot of these women are shocked and confused. They're in their 30s. They think this is a time to settle down, but they can't find the man they're looking for anymore. A lot of those men are interested in younger girls who are more fertile and, you know, don't have as much baggage and drama. And so a lot of these women now have hit that wall, and now it's hard for them to find somebody. Again, you are the person who can be the leader, and you should be the leader. And the bottom line is, if you're the leader, you're the one that's going to be able to kind of dictate what's happening there. And you have to be able to say, you know, I'm the one who is kind of in dominion of what's happening here. Doesn't mean you have to be use it in any negative way, but you're providing and you're protecting as the man. As a man, you have to be strong enough to continue doing that. All right, my friends. Well, Don, thank you so much for your comments, and thank all you guys for the shout outs. I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. And again, remember always 2 things we always talk about. 1, every day is a new day to a great warrior, and each one of you guys is good warriors and is great warriors. And number 2, as we just talked about, all this is a battle. And that's why I always call and say, battle on! God bless you guys and have a great evening. Take care. Bye.